Well, good morning, YouTubers. Today we're back working on the Grady White. It's a new week. This episode 34 on the Grady White. What I'm working on now, slowly putting in the new wood. Yesterday I was covering the new wood with some fiberglass and making some wood pieces to go under the nose. But that's what this week's going to be about, is finishing up on the wood and finishing on all of the tabbing. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Okay, I've been making new pieces of wood for the Grady White. Let me show you kind of what I've done here. I made this little cardboard template here. That gives the approximate size and shape of the piece of wood. Then what I've been doing, this now becomes trash. I've been coating this with resin. It appears plywood likes to soak up resin, and it doesn't really adhere really well. Well, what I found is I'm getting dry spots in the fiberglass. When I coat this with glass, I'll get dry spots, and so what I've been doing is I'll take and sand this now to kind of rough it up a little bit, and then I'll coat it with fiberglass, getting ready to do the final fit. Basically, I'll put 1708 on both sides, and then I'll do a dry fit in the boat and trim it to size. What I'm doing here is quickly sanding both sides of the plywood after I put the resin on. Smooths it out, takes out little bumps and drips and things like that in preparation for the fiberglass coating. This is laminating resin, and you see what it does to the sandpaper. It kind of clogs things up. Finishing resin doesn't do this. So on the sandpaper, show you what the laminating resin, it remains sticky so that you can put another layer of fiberglass over it and it will chemically bond. Guess what? The other side of the stringer is more of the same. So I'm going to kind of cut this short and move on to something a little more exciting than wetting out fiberglass cloth. Okay, here's one that I've coated. I've been trying various ways on getting the fiberglass to adhere. I keep on getting these spots. They're a little white. They seem solid. This is the floor for the cubby hole on the port side, and this is ready to be trimmed. I'm going to take the angle grinder and trim the sides of this. This one, what I was doing, I've been putting in 2 coats of resin, and I would basically let it sit to kind of start setting up. Then I would put a second coat of resin on, put the fiberglass on, and then put a coat of resin over the top. But I'm still not satisfied. It seems like the plywood, if you look really close, the plywood seems to be sucking some of the resin out of the fiberglass. So I need to work further on how to get this to work. So the one I'm working on, this one is getting ready to be trimmed with the angle grinder. The one I'm working on, that my approach there is I coated it with fiberglass. I let it cure overnight. That one I'm going to sand, and then I will put the fiberglass on and see if I get better adhesion than this approach. The agony of listening to the angle grinder grind on fiberglass. Not much exciting here. All I'm doing is trimming the excess off the edges. It's a combination of cloth and cloth saturated with resin that's hardened, and I'm just trimming that to size. It's kind of like flashing if you're working on something else. But the angle grinder, it's got a flat disc on it, and it removes the excess at the edges of the board. Here I'm cutting the hole in the floor. This is where the wire chase is going to pop up in through the floor that I've added for side-to-side wiring in the boat. Okay, here's this week's progress. I've got the floor in. It still needs to be trimmed. If you look over there, I need to trim some of that inside fiberglass, and then I need to tab this in. So this is the cubby hole on the port side in the nose. Now this is the stringer that I was working on. I've got it. Basically, I have faired it in around the edges with structural putty, and there's the last piece up towards the nose. That's the last area that I need to make a template for. Coming up this week, that'll be the last piece of plywood I have to make down here under the deck, and I'll be ready to basically put in the bulkhead right here that was cut out. Of course, the stringers go lengthwise and the bulkheads go crosswise, and so I'll put these back in, and this one right here, this stringer, which I made, this needs to be tabbed in, and we're ready to go. And then do the same thing with the floor. You can see up there. There's where that piece of floor is. There's the pipe that goes back and forth across the boat. And you can see, if you take a look, I've got kind of a gap right there, and I need to do a little sanding on this board right here to flatten out the floor so that I don't have this gap I've got right here. But that's the fitting process to get the floor in. And of course, there's the drain. Now, next week, we have further things to do. Next week, I hope to have this all tabbed in and ready to go. And what I'd like to do next is rip out this floor and take out the hoses for the gas tank. I need to get new hoses. I need to pull those out while the floor is open and run them. And I also need to fix the deck drains. If you see here, they're broken off. That's just like I did on the port side. I need to redo this floor and on the starboard side. So that's what's coming up next week. I hope you like it. I hope you've had enough boat work this week. If you did, and you like this, please feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.